Hey everyone, welcome to week 9 of my value betting journey from 1k to 2k with Trademate Sports. A standard week for an Arsenal fan, another loss. It's not being a great season, but I guess the good news was you had Liverpool and Man City who played at a cracking game yesterday, which is also quite depressing to watch if you're an Arsenal fan, to see just how far they have to go. In terms of the week of sport, you guys should check out a podcast that me and Mario started last week, and we'll be recording a new episode in the coming days. So look out for that. And here's how I went in week 9. So as you guys can see, for once, after a couple of rough weeks, I've actually made a profit. So around about $60 profited. But the big news is that I surpassed the 2,000 trades mark. So that's obviously a big indicator in terms of how I judge myself and my success. That's really good for me that I've been able to surpass that mark. Plenty more trades to come. So as you can see, I have edged closer to my closing EV, but of course my closing EV is always moving upwards. So I am still just under $100 below my closing EV, which is good news for me because I know that it's only going to get better from here. I thought this was quite interesting, and it kind of represents to me that I have a really successful staking strategy. So flat ROI means that if I was, let's just say, placing the same number like stake for every single trade, I would actually be losing money. Whereas this kind of shows that by having a Kelly criterion staking strategy that it's actually working. So I know I've taken you guys through this. Fortunately for you guys, when you sign up for Trademate, they recommend a stake for you every time you place a trade, so you don't have to do that like Kelly criterion dirty work as such. They actually recommend a stake for you. So the biggest decision you have to make is what percentage of the Kelly criterion you are going to use. I think this is really interesting here. So 10,000 plus trades, 100% of our customers are profitable, and they're using 29% Kelly staking strategy on average. So I think you can kind of stick to that percentage. That's like a low risk strategy, and it's exactly what I'm using. That's what Trademate recommends, is using a 30% Kelly bet sizing percentage. Obviously you guys can pick your own percentage, but on average, and looking at that article before, the most successful customers have been using something around 30%. Another tip I have for you guys is surrounding bookmakers. So honestly, one of my biggest regrets since I've started this is that I distributed all my bankroll to start off with. So obviously I started with $1,000, and I decided to put all that money into my betting account straight away without leaving anything in reserve. I would highly advocate against that, and it's kind of let me down a lot. So obviously William Hill, I now don't have enough money to put the money back into my account that I've ran to zero. And I've had a lot of times with Bettor also, where I've gone down to zero on like a Saturday or a Sunday because I've got lots of trades open with them. So I wish I had a bit more in my reserve bankroll so I could actually go in and grab those funds and keep trading on a weekend. So I would read this article. It's called How to Distribute Your Value Betting Bankroll on Bookmakers, and it just gives you 3 tips on how you should go about when you start up with your bookmakers. So keeping maybe 2/5 in your reserve bank account or e-wallet until you get a clear picture of which bookies get the highest volume, and also in the case that you have a bad run of luck and you run out of money with a bookie. Here are my trades of the week, guys. As you can see here, my biggest positive winning edge, my biggest negative edge, biggest win, biggest loss. This one's the one that stands out the most though, going down to a negative 33% edge, which is not that great. Got on at 650 and it went up to 858. So yeah, not the best. And that's it for week 9, guys. Good to be back in the winner's circle after a rough couple of weeks. What's coming up this week? Well, the international break is back, so not the most exciting time for us. But you can check out our podcast that's coming out in the next couple of days in terms of what happened in the week of sports and what's coming up. So look out for that. And also check out our sports news section in the blog for some of the reviews of the EPL round and some previews and reviews of the NBA. So yeah, look out for that. But yeah, guys, see you next week.